Hi folks, it's Mike Murphy, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to build an AI self-organizing second brain in Obsidian using Claude Code. The AI-powered second brain or personal knowledge base that we are going to build today from scratch was inspired by the wildly popular X post by Andrej Karpathy, which at the time of this tutorial has over 19 million views. Well, it turns out a lot of people, including myself, really love Karpathy's approach to building LLM knowledge bases, or LLM wikis as Andrej refers to them. And to make it incredibly easy for you, me, and anyone who read his X post that wanted to build their own LLM knowledge base, well, Andrej created this GitHub gist called LLM Wiki, which is basically the exact pattern or the recipe for building your own LLM knowledge base. The prerequisites are the tools required in order for you to be able to follow along in today's tutorial and build your own LLM second brain or your Karpathy-inspired personal knowledge base wiki. You will need a link to the LLM GitHub gist, which you will find in the description of this video. You will need to be on either the Claude Pro or the Claude Max plan, since we are going to be using Claude Code to build out the personal wiki. If you haven't already done so, you will need to install the free and awesome Obsidian app on your computer. To be able to launch Claude Code right inside of Obsidian, I'll show you how to get the free community plugin called Terminal. And finally, to make it easy to save articles and things from the internet to your LLM wiki, you'll definitely want to install the Obsidian Web Clipper in your browser. The big deal about the Karpathy LLM knowledge base that we are building today is that it is persistent, meaning the LLM, Claude Code in our case, is constantly updating, fixing, and improving our knowledge base. So the more information we get it, the better our knowledge base becomes. Here is a sneak peek or a preview of the LLM knowledge base second brain wiki that we are going to be building today. Very simple setup. There are 3 folders: raw, templates, and wiki, and then a claude.md file, which are the instructions for the knowledge base. The raw folder is like the inbox of your knowledge base. This is where you dump all of the source material that you want to be added to your knowledge base. And you can add just about any type of file that you want in the raw folder. You can add images, PDFs, Word documents, Excel documents, CSV files, Markdown files, anything that an LLM can read, you can dump it in the raw folder. And the source material in the raw folder is considered immutable, meaning it never changes or is never modified. It always remains in its original state. The typical workflow is that you add something to the raw folder. So you can drag and drop on your computer, you could use the Obsidian Web Clipper, any way that you get something into the raw folder, and then you launch Claude Code and you tell Claude Code to ingest whatever it is that you put in the raw folder. Ingest, that's the name of the file, and add to my wiki. Claude Code, the LLM in my LLM knowledge base, goes to the raw folder and analyzes the source document that I told it to ingest. Claude is then going to try to extract as much data or information or knowledge from that source material. So every time the LLM ingests raw material into the knowledge base, okay, what do I need to do with this information? Does it require its own wiki page? And a wiki page is simply a markdown file. It's just a note. But the collection of all these markdown files or notes make up the wiki, which in a sense is your entire knowledge base. And what really makes the knowledge base so efficient is that Claude creates this index page. Every time you ingest raw material, Claude updates your index page. It is basically the table of contents that keeps everything in your wiki or knowledge base organized. So when you query or when you ask Claude a question about your knowledge base, Claude is going to always reference the index. So Claude wrote me up a little plan of what it's going to do with the material that it just ingested. Are we good to go, or do you need to make any adjustments? I'm going to say good to go. Claude is going to write up a new wiki page, and then it's going to update the index page. Claude is done, and then it's giving me a summary of what it did. It created 3 new pages in my wiki, which you can find by just scrolling open the wiki pages. There's one of them right there. And then it updated 3 pages, including the index page, which again, it does every time it ingests something. I will tell you that it takes time for Claude to ingest and process even one document. Now, you can tell it to ingest multiple documents, but you probably don't want to do more than a couple at a time. Step 1. Here is how to create your own LLM second brain knowledge base wiki in Obsidian using Claude Code as the LLM. If you have Obsidian open, like I do right here, look for your current vault name in the bottom left corner, those double arrows. Just click that, choose Manage Vaults, and you get this little pop-up window. The left side is all of your existing vaults. Then you'll see the option to create a new vault. I'll click the Create button. Now it wants me to name my new vault. I'm going to call my new LLM knowledge base Claude Wiki. This is going to be a knowledge base dedicated to Claude agents, skills, routines, cowork, all of the things that I want to keep track of about Claude. And now you just need to set the location. Where do you want your knowledge base to live? Now, I typically keep mine in iCloud Drive so it syncs across all of my devices, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to put it on the desktop so it's easier to show you everything that I'm doing. So I'll click Browse. It's going to open up a Finder window. I'm going to choose my desktop and click Open. When I click the Create button, my new Obsidian Vault is created. It opens up automatically in the Obsidian app. So here's my new Obsidian Vault. I can confirm the name of it by just looking in the bottom left corner. There you can see Claude Wiki. And if you click that, you'll see a list of all of your existing Obsidian vaults. You can just select one to open up that vault. And the beauty of Obsidian is its simplicity. All a vault is in Obsidian is a folder on your hard drive. Everything that you put in your Obsidian vault is in that vault folder. So if I go to my desktop, there is the Claude Wiki folder. This is my Obsidian vault. And when I double click to open that, sure enough, the only thing in there is that welcome.md file, which was automatically created. I don't need this, so I could delete it. Command delete. And now when I go back into Obsidian, you will see that file is gone because that is all a vault is. Now I want to be able to launch Claude Code right inside of Obsidian. So to do that, I'm going to install the free community plugin called Terminal. So I'm just going to click on the gear icon. I'm going to go to the community plugins. I'm going to turn on community plugins. You only have to do this the first time. And then I'm going to browse and search for the Terminal plugin. So Terminal, I'll select this first one. I'll click Install and then click Enable. And you'll see a little terminal icon over in the sidebar. And when you click that, choose Integrated, Darwin Integrated. This is kind of confusing when you first get it, but you want to choose this middle one here, Integrated. And that opens up a terminal panel in Obsidian. So this is just like opening up Terminal or the command shell on your computer, only the terminal is now inside of Obsidian. Pretty cool. So now I can launch Claude by just typing Claude the same way I would in the terminal. And Claude is going to open up. We have our new vault created. We have Claude Code ready to go. It is now time to tell Claude Code to build our LLM knowledge base. So first, I'm just going to tell Claude what it is that I want it to do. I'm just giving Claude Code a little bit of added context, but the LLM wiki that we're about to paste in gives Claude all the instructions that it needs. But I'm just saying, here is Andrej Karpathy's LLM wiki pattern. Implement this exactly as it's described in here. Create the full structure as it's described, and make this my own personal knowledge base here in this Obsidian vault. In the last sentence, I am telling Claude Code to use the Karpathy LLM gist as my first raw data source. So once you're done creating the knowledge base, go ahead and ingest the LLM wiki gist and add it to my new knowledge base. Now, I'm not going to send this until I paste in the gist. And a little side tip in Claude. If you want to go to the next line without sending the prompt, hold the Shift key and then tap the Return key, and then you can make some space. And I might change this period at the end to a colon. Now I am on the GitHub gist called Karpathy LLM Wiki.md. I'm going to select this entire gist. This is the pattern. Command-C to copy it to my clipboard. I'm going to return to Obsidian, and I'm just going to paste it into Claude Code. I'm going to tap return. Claude is going to boop, whiz bang, and do its thing. I'll tap chew. Yes, always allow access. Now it's Gitifying. If you look over in the sidebar, it's created those 3 folders, raw, templates, and wiki. Now it's probably writing the Claude.md file. That's the schema and the instructions that Claude is going to follow every time. Sure enough, there's the Claude.md file. And if we look over here in the graph view, this is kind of the magic of the LLM Wiki. You're going to see the connections in your knowledge base. The more you add, the more the connections you're going to see in the graph view. You're going to see how the LLM Wiki is actually being built. Kind of cool. In real time, you are seeing Claude Code extract different concepts from that one raw source, and it's only going to keep growing. So Claude is telling me everything is done. Here is what was created. This is the structure of my new knowledge base. At the very bottom, Claude is giving me instructions on how I can use this new LLM knowledge base moving forward. Anything that you want added to your knowledge base, you're going to drop the source files into the raw folder. You then launch Claude and tell Claude to ingest the source files that you want to bring in. And then you interact and ask Claude questions by just entering text prompts. What do you want Claude Code to extract for you from your knowledge base? Maybe you want to generate some new tutorial or content ideas. Well, you can tell Claude, hey, look at all of my notes related to this topic and tell me what might make a good tutorial. You don't have to do this all the time, but if your wiki is feeling a little stale or something just doesn't feel right, you can ask Claude to lint your wiki, which is basically saying run a health check. Are all of the links working? Is everything connected the way they should be? And Claude is just going to analyze the health of your wiki and make any changes or adjustments if it is needed. Now you can drag and drop anything in your raw folder, but as you can see here from the last note, the Obsidian Web Clipper is the easiest way to clip articles while you're browsing in a browser. So let me show you how you can do that right now. To install the Obsidian Web Clipper, so you can highlight parts of a website or capture an entire page and add it to the raw folder, open a web browser, go to obsidian.md/clipper. If you use Google Chrome as your main browser, you're just going to click the button Add to Chrome. If you use another browser, click More Browsers. Just locate your browser and install it in that. I use Google Chrome, so I'm just going to click on Add to Chrome. In the top right, I'm going to click Add to Chrome, Add Extension, and then you're going to see a little purple icon up in the top right corner of Chrome. And I'm going to pin it so it stays up at the top, and I'm just going to move it over here in the front. So Claude just announced a new feature called Claude Code Routines. I'm on the Claude blog and I want to save and add this to my raw folder so I can ingest it into my knowledge base. So with the page open, I'm just going to click on the Obsidian Web Clipper icon. Now we want to tell the Obsidian Web Clipper anytime I click the Add to Obsidian button, I want it to be saved in the raw folder in my Claude Wiki Vault. So the way that you can do that, click on the gear icon in the top right corner. You want to be on the General tab, go to Vaults, and now you're going to enter in the vault names. And you can have all of your vaults here and choose. So let me just show you what that looks like. I'll click in the field, and I'm just going to type out Claude Wiki, the exact way that you typed it, or the name of your vault, tap Return, and you can add all of your vaults here. So I can add my Tut Wiki, which is my wiki just for tutorials. And then I can add my main vault, which is called Mike OS. We'll go back here, click on the web thing, and now when you look at this, we have a drop down so we can choose which vault. So the name of the folder that we're going to type right here is raw. So now when I click Add to Obsidian, it is going to save it in this vault that I have selected, in this folder that I have in this field. I'll click Add to Obsidian. So the web clipping itself has been added to my Obsidian vault called Claude Wiki. It is in the raw folder just the way I wanted. I can see it right there, but it has not yet been ingested into my knowledge base. You have to tell Claude what you want ingested. It doesn't do it automatically. I'm going to exit out of the previous session in Claude Code so I can simulate exactly what it looks like for you if you're just doing it for the first time. So I'm going to do /exit to get out of Claude Code. I'll type clear. Now I'm just back in the terminal. I will launch Claude, CLAUDE, tap return. And now I need to tell Claude that I want to ingest this file called introducing routines in Claude Code. So I'm just going to say ingest in my raw folder and add to my wiki. Now, I don't really probably have to say that, but, I like to be thorough. So first, Claude's giving me a little summary, letting me know that from this one web clipping, it created 4 new wiki pages in my knowledge base. So that's cool. I also updated the index, overview, and log files. Okay, expected that. But here is your real light bulb moment. This is really showing the power of this LLM knowledge base. Pretty incredible, actually. Claude is flagging a connection that it made after I ingested this Claude Code web clipping. It's basically saying, hey, Mike, I want to bring this to your attention because I think you're going to find it pretty useful. Not only is it useful, but it's actually very meta. It is directly related to this tutorial, and this was completely unplanned. So Claude noticed that in the Karpathy LLM gist, the first raw source that we ingested, Karpathy talks about the LLM as a persistent agent, which we already touched upon. Well, that same persistent agent is a pattern that is also in the Claude Code routine document. So Claude is saying, wait a minute. You could set up Claude Code routines to automate the process of ingesting source documents from the raw folder into your knowledge base automatically. Mike, the only thing that you need to do, just add things to the raw folder. You can then use the new Claude Code routines and set up a new routine to run on a scheduled time. So maybe you say, every night at midnight, Claude, I want you to look inside of the raw folder. If there are any new documents, ingest them automatically, spin up all the new wiki pages, tag them, make all the connections. I want you to handle all of that automatically. I don't know about you, but that just blew me away. We're basically done, but I just want to call out this last little tip about images and asset handling. In the LLM Wiki documentation on GitHub Gist, and I recommend that you read this entire thing, but what I want to call out is in the tips and tricks section, namely this download images locally. We want to make sure that when we clip articles directly into our Obsidian Vault, that the attachments or the images of that article go in the right location, where Claude is expecting them to be in our LLM knowledge base, which is in the assets folder that lives in the raw folder. Let's just go back to the LLM Wiki and read the instructions. So we need to open up Obsidian settings, go to Files and Links. We're going to set the attachment folder path to a fixed directory, which is raw/assets. Easy. So back in Obsidian, go to the very bottom, click on the gear icon to open up Obsidian settings. In the left sidebar, you're going to go to Files and Links. And what we're looking for is right here, default location for new attachments. Click the drop-down, choose In Folder specified below, click the field, and you should see a list of all the available folders that you can select, and I'm going to choose raw/assets. And we can also assign a hotkey. This is going to force the images to be downloaded into the assets folder, and they're recommending this Control-Shift-D, so let's just do that. So back in Obsidian, we're still in the settings. We're going to go to Hotkeys in the left sidebar, click in the search field in the top right, type out download. We're looking for the download attachments for current file. I'll click the plus, and now you just need to enter the hotkey that you want to use. So I'll use Control-Shift-D. That's all we need to do. Congratulations, you did it. That is how to build an LLM-powered knowledge-based second brain inspired by the Andrej Karpathy LLM Wiki. My name is Mike Murphy, your AI handyman. Cheers.